Heidi-ho, neighbors. We are on August 20th. 11 days left of August. How can that be? We're in Esther 8:1 through 10:3. On that same day, King Xerxes gave the property of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, to Queen Esther. Then Mordecai was brought before the king, for Esther had told the king how they were related. The king took off his signet ring, which he had taken back from Haman, and gave it to Mordecai, and Esther appointed Mordecai to be in charge of Haman's property. Then Esther went again before what happened to his wife? Haman's wife. So did they just kick her out? Where'd she go? I mean, she kind of brought it on herself, giving him bad advice, but what happened to her? Then Esther went again before the king, falling down at his feet and begging him with tears to stop the evil plot devised by Haman the Agagite against the Jews. Again the king held out the gold scepter to Esther, so she rose and stood before him. Esther said, "If it please the king, and if I have found favor with him, and if he thinks it is right, and if I am pleasing to him, let there be a decree that reverses the orders of Haman, son of Hammedatha the Agagite, who ordered that Jews throughout all the king's provinces should be destroyed. For how can I endure to see my people and my family slaughtered and destroyed?" Then King Xerxes said to Queen Esther and Mordecai the Jew, "I have given Esther the property of Haman, and he has been impaled on a pole because he tried to destroy the Jews. Now go ahead and send a message to the Jews in the king's name, telling them whatever you want, and seal it with the king's signet ring. But remember that whatever has already been written in the king's name and sealed with his signet ring can never be revoked." So on June 25th, the king's secretaries were summoned, and a decree was written exactly as Mordecai dictated. It was sent to the Jews and to the highest officers, the governors, and the nobles of all the 127 provinces stretching from India to Ethiopia. The decree was written in the scripts and languages of all the peoples of the empire, including that of the Jews. The decree was written in the name of King Xerxes and sealed with the king's signet ring. Mordecai sent the dispatches by swift messengers who rode fast horses, especially bred for the king's service. As the king, could he not say, "Oh, I've changed my mind, I don't want to do this anymore"? He's king. Could he not do that? The king's decree gave the Jews in every city authority to unite to defend their lives. Why wouldn't they have been able to do that anyway? Were they just supposed to stand around and let the other people slaughter them? They were allowed to kill, slaughter, and annihilate anyone of any nationality or province who might attack them or their children and wives, and to take the property of their enemies. The day chosen for this event throughout all the provinces of King Xerxes was March 7th of the next year. A copy of this decree was to be issued as law in every province and proclaimed to all peoples, so that the Jews would be ready to take revenge on their enemies on the appointed day. So urged on by the king's command, the messengers rode out swiftly on fast horses bred for the king's service. The same decree was also proclaimed in the fortress of Susa. Then Mordecai left the king's presence, wearing the royal robe of blue and white, the great crown of gold, and an outer cloak of fine linen and purple. And the people of Susa celebrated the new decree. The Jews were filled with joy and gladness and were honored everywhere. In every province and city, wherever the king's decree arrived, the Jews rejoiced and had a great celebration and declared a public festival and holiday, and many of the people of the land became Jews themselves, for they feared what the Jews might do to them. So on March 7th, the two decrees of the king were put into effect. On that day, the enemies of the Jews had hoped to overpower them, but quite the opposite happened. Because who do you think God was standing with? It was the Jews who overpowered their enemies. The Jews gathered in their cities throughout all the king's provinces to attack anyone who tried to harm them. but no one could make a stand against them, for everyone was afraid of them. And all the nobles of the provinces, the highest officers, the governors, and the royal officials helped the Jews for fear of Mordecai, for Mordecai had been promoted in the king's palace, and his fame spread throughout all the provinces as he became more and more powerful. So the Jews went ahead on the appointed day and struck down their enemies with the sword. They killed and annihilated their enemies and did as they pleased with those who hated them. Ugh. Hair's floating around, the fan is blowing it on my lips. In the fortress of Susa itself, the Jews killed 500 men. They also killed Parshandatha, Dalphan, Espatha, Poratha, Adalia, Aridatha, Parmashta, Arisai, Aridai, and Vyazatha, the 10 sons of Haman, son of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews, but they did not take any plunder. That very day, when the king was informed of the number of people killed in the fortress of Susa, he called for Queen Esther. He said, "The Jews have killed 500 men in the fortress of Susa alone, as well as Haman's 10 sons. If they have done all that here, what has happened in the rest of the provinces? But now, what more do you want? It will be granted to you. Tell me, and I will do it." Esther responded, "If it please the king, give the Jews in Susa permission to do again tomorrow as they have done today, and let the bodies of Haman's 10 sons be impaled on a pole." So the king agreed, and the decree was announced in Susa, and they impaled the bodies of Haman's 10 sons. Then the Jews at Susa gathered together on March 8th and killed 300 more men, and again they took no plunder. Meanwhile, the other Jews throughout the king's provinces had gathered together to defend their lives. They gained relief from all their enemies, killing 75,000 of those who hated them, but they did not take any plunder. This was done throughout the provinces on March 7th, and on March 8th they rested, celebrating their victory with a day of feasting and gladness. The Jews at Susa killed their enemies on March 7th and again on March 8th, and then rested on March 9th, making that their day of feasting and gladness. So to this day, rural Jews living in remote villages celebrate an annual festival and holiday on the appointed day in late winter, when they rejoice and send gifts of food to each other. Mordecai recorded these events and sent letters to the Jews near and far throughout all the provinces of King Xerxes, calling on them to celebrate an annual festival on these 2 days. He told them to celebrate these days with feasting and gladness, and by giving gifts of food to each other and presents to the poor. This would commemorate a time when the Jews gained relief from their enemies, when their sorrow was turned into gladness and their mourning into joy. So the Jews accepted Mordecai's proposal and adopted this annual custom. Haman, son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews, had plotted to crush and destroy them on the date determined by casting lots. The lots were called Purim. But when Esther came before the king, he issued a decree causing Haman's evil plot to backfire, and Haman and his sons were impaled on a sharpened pole. That is why this celebration is called Purim, because it is the ancient word for casting lots. So because of Mordecai's letter and because of what they had experienced, the Jews throughout the realm agreed to inaugurate this tradition and to pass it on to their descendants and to all who became Jews. They declared they would never fail to celebrate these 2 prescribed days at the appointed time each year. These days would be remembered and kept from generation to generation and celebrated by every family throughout the provinces and cities of the empire. The festival of Purim would never cease to be celebrated among the Jews, nor would the memory of what happened ever die out among their descendants. Then Queen Esther, the daughter of Abihail, along with Mordecai the Jew, wrote another letter, putting the queen's full authority behind Mordecai's letter to establish the festival of Purim. Letters wishing peace and security were sent to the Jews throughout the 127 provinces of the empire of Xerxes. These letters established the festival of Purim, an annual celebration of these days at the appointed time decreed by both Mordecai the Jew and Queen Esther. The people decided to observe this festival just as they had decided for themselves and their descendants to establish the times of fasting and mourning. So the command of Esther confirmed the practices of Purim, and it was all written down in the records. King Xerxes imposed a tribute throughout his empire his empire even to the distant coastlands. His great achievements and the full account of the greatness of Mordecai, whom the king had promoted, are recorded in the book of the history of the kings of Media and Persia. Mordecai, the Jew, became the prime minister with authority next to that of King Xerxes himself. He was very great among the Jews, who held him in high esteem because he continued to work for the good of his people and to speak up for the welfare of all their descendants. So you might be in a position now and you're wondering, why in the world am I here? But it could be, as Queen Esther was put in that position to help her people, maybe you're put in this position to help somebody, to help a group of people. Who knows? Just keep following the directions. Be a shining light. Be an example of Christ to everybody in your immediate vicinity, to anybody who might catch wind of you or might see you. And just be open to what God is preparing you for. We should be that anyway. We should just be open to whatever it is that God is preparing us for. And yeah, there's your Bible reading for today. Don't forget to like the video, share it, and make comments below, post your prayer requests, or if you have a question about the reading today, post it. Oh wait, I didn't do New Testament. 1 Corinthians 12:27 to 13:13. So sorry. All of you, believers, together are Christ's body, and each of you is a part of it. Here are some of the parts God has appointed for the church. First are apostles. Second are prophets. Third are teachers. Then those who do miracles. Those who have the gift of healing. Those who can help others. Those who have the gift of leadership. Those who speak in unknown languages. I find that order interesting. So apostles are first, and speaking in tongues is last. Are we all apostles? Are we all prophets? Are we all teachers? Do we all have the power to do miracles? Do we all have the gift of healing? Do we all have the ability to speak in unknown languages? Do we all have the ability to interpret unknown languages? Of course not. So you should earnestly desire the most helpful gifts. But now let me show you a way of life that is best of all. If I could speak all the languages of earth and of angels, but did not love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secret plans and possessed all knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains but did not love others, I would be nothing. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it. But if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will become useless, but love will last forever. Now our knowledge is partial and incomplete, and even the gift of prophecy reveals only part of the whole picture. But when the time of perfection comes, these partial things will become useless. When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child, but when I grew up, I put away childish things. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror, but then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything completely, just as God now knows me completely. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. And we are lacking love in the world today, especially here in America. I can't say for other countries because I'm not there, but here in America, we are sorely lacking love, compassion, understanding. We have become a society of selfishness. It's all about me. And if you're not doing something that helps me, I have no time for you. If you're not promoting me, if you're not making a way for me, then you're useless, you're worthless, and you're wrong. That is how our society is training everybody to be right now. So I encourage you to do this instead. To love others, to show that compassion that so many people need but do not get, and then they take it out on other people. It is so sad to see that you cannot express your opinion or your belief without being attacked, without being called names, without being put down, without having somebody defame your character just because of something that you believe or something that you think. Why can we not talk about it? If you have experience that makes you vehemently disagree with this person or with you, with your thoughts, with your beliefs, then you have an opportunity to educate them on why you believe the way that you do. There will never be understanding for each side if we keep calling each other names, if we keep putting each other down. So please, let's practice love instead. Let's practice kindness. Let's practice compassion. Let's practice understanding. It may take some time, and you might fall, because this has been the journey I've been on for a while. I've just been trying to just love people, regardless of my past experiences, regardless of what anybody has done. My journey has been to just love people, just in the moment, right now. Love the person. Doesn't matter what they believe, it doesn't matter what they say, it doesn't matter what they think. Just love the person, because God loved us. When we were unlovable, God still loved us. And that is our job now, to love others as God loves us. So that is your Bible reading for today. If you have questions about this whole love thing, if you need more clarity in what I'm saying, ask it below. You can also message me on Facebook or Instagram. The links are in the description, and I will be happy to get back to you. And if I can't explain it properly, which I think I will, I think God will be with me to help me explain it, or to just have a discussion, or maybe you just need somebody to vent to, so that you don't vent it to somebody else, the person that's causing you the stress. Instead of, because what I do a lot of times, there's a lot of times when I want to respond very sarcastically to people in my job, and I can't. And so what I will do is I will type out that sarcastic email, and then I'll read it, and then delete it, and then I can type out something more professional. So if you need somebody to basically type that nasty email to, send it to me and be like, this is how I'm feeling right now, or whatever. That way it gets it out of your system so that you can respond more favorably to somebody else. That's what we're here for, right? To help each other walk this path of love, this path of Christ. So let's do that. And don't forget to click over here for Psalms and Proverbs. It's where you're going to find your praise and worship. That's where you're going to find some little nuggets of knowledge, of wisdom, because wisdom is far more valuable than wealth. And then I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. God bless you. I love you guys. Bye.